Hi everyone, welcome back to another self-care video. Today we're talking all about mindful eating. I do have to say a little bit of a disclaimer that the content in this video might be a little bit triggering for you if you struggle with any food related issues, but should you decide to watch it anyways, I hope that this helps you in some way. So first, let's get into what mindful eating is. Mindful eating is a form of meditation based on the practice of mindfulness, which some of us do in other ways, such as meditation. Mindfulness itself is a form of meditation that can help you recognize and cope with your emotions and relate them to your eating habits. By eating habits, many people think this is always a reference to, say, choosing broccoli over French fries, for example, but it's not so much about what you're eating, but more of how you eat it and the intentions behind what you're doing. So this allows you to reach a state of full awareness when it comes to your experiences, your cravings, and your behavioral habits around food. It can also be used to treat many conditions such as depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and other food-related behaviors as well. So as an example, for me, how I knew I was not mindfully eating was that in times when I felt super happy, I would order my favorite food or McDonald's, which you could argue is also my favorite food, and I would scarf it down because I'm feeling super happy. But then I started to notice that in feelings of, say, depression or sadness, I would also be doing the same thing. In order to cope, I would order my favorite food and scarf that down as well. This could also be related to other areas in your life that are not related to food. So ask yourself this question: is the way in which I show happiness or celebrate my happiness the same or similar as the way in which I cope with feelings of sadness or other negative emotions? If your answer is yes, then your brain may be associating the behavior, in this case eating, with both the negative and positive aspects of life, which may result in overuse. So in my example, you may think that the McDonald's was the issue, but instead, it's more helpful to look at the intentions behind the actual eating and realizing that having your happiness rely on food, or anything for that matter, even if it's just in certain situations, is actually going to do you more harm than good. So by being aware of your triggers around food, you can create a space between the trigger and your response. So it gives you control, it gives you time, and it gives you freedom to choose how you're going to react after you've identified the problem. To help you, you could ask yourself these questions. The first thing you could do is to plan ahead by asking yourself, how will I feel after I eat this? The next thing you could do is you could identify the cause. So ask yourself, what is the real reason I'm about to eat right now? Am I hungry? Am I sad, happy, bored, etc.? And then the last thing you could do is, while you're eating, check in during your meal. So ask yourself, am I full? Do I feel satisfied? Am I still feeling okay? The reason we ask these questions is because eating has become somewhat of a mindless act. Most of us get excited over the food we're about to eat, understandably, and we rush to finish it. But did you know it takes your brain up to 20 minutes to actually realize that you're full? So therefore, if you're someone who eats pretty fast, the signal that you're full may not come until you've already overeaten. And this is really common in those who struggle with binge eating. So by eating mindfully, you're restoring your attention and you're slowing down. So you're making eating an act with intent instead of a habit that just comes automatically. Also, with more and more practice, you are soon going to be able to find it easier to tell the difference between actually being physically hungry and just being hungry based on something that was an emotional response. Now let's get into how you can actually eat mindfully. So the first thing that you can do is to eat slowly and without distraction. The TV, the radio, and our phones can make us not pay attention to what we're actually doing in the real world. So by eating without any distractions, you're able to focus on the food and your eating habits as a whole. And also, eating slowly can help you understand better when you are satisfied or full. Like I said before, it takes your brain about 20 minutes to realize that you're full, so this can really be helpful. Another thing you can do is to listen to your body's cues when it comes to physical hunger. Is your stomach growling? Is it rumbling? Do you feel physically empty? Is your mouth dry? Also make sure that you're drinking plenty of water, because sometimes our bodies can think that we're hungry, but really we're just thirsty. So make sure that you stay hydrated. The next step is to learn when you are eating because of something emotion based. So to do this, you can reflect on what happened that day or even within the past week and see if you're eating as a result of something that caused you stress, or even the opposite, something that made you super happy, versus eating because you are actually physically hungry. The next thing you can do is engage your senses while you're eating. So try to take in all the colors, the smells, the textures, and the flavors of the food to keep your mind on what you are doing. And I would argue that this makes the food taste way better anyways. Another thing you can do is to notice the effects that the food has on your feelings or your body. So basically just asking yourself, do you feel well? Are you okay? Do you feel okay? These things are important as well. And the last thing you can do is to craft yourself a backup plan. So learn to deal with any guilt or anxiety surrounding eating should you overeat, because this is all trial and error. Practice makes perfect. So don't expect to be really great at this right away. So just notice the effects on your feelings of anxiety, and you can also get help with this, especially through therapy or consulting with a friend or a family member or someone who you trust. And be kind to yourself. Like I said, this is all practice, practice, practice makes perfect. Here's a really cool and helpful image I found on the internet with other ways that you can mindfully eat. Feel free to pause and take a closer look at this. And that's it, everybody. Now you know all about mindful eating. I hope that some of you take this into practice. It can really be life-changing, but again, be kind to yourself about it. It's not easy, but it can be done. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next self-care video.